Hello, I have something to say. I'm a teacher, and there's some problems with, I would say, Common Core curriculum, where it's almost like a hurdle. Like I'm trying to teach a kid how to count to 10, but I got to do it in 10 different ways that don't make sense. And it's like the kid will know the question and he will know the answer, and it's like designed to make them hate math. Like there'll be like 7 steps in between where that's where they're grading you, and it's asking you these weird word problem questions that children can't understand. Like the way a philosopher, reductionist mathematician, like I'll think of one, analytic philosophers. What was his name? Anyway, the whole analytic philosophy school, all those guys are like insane about like trying to put a logic to everything, and that is like Common Core. And it's like, yeah, it makes sense if you're fucking smart, but they're children, and we have to teach them the things they need to be able to understand reductionist like philosophy. And that might not make any sense to you, but I'm going to keep going because I have a lot to say. Because there's way more than that. um, they're in trouble. Kids are in trouble. Um, the culture's not right. The values aren't right. I'm trying to think of how to say this without sounding crazy. I want the children to be happy and healthy, and I feel that there's a concerted effort to destroy them, to prevent them from learning, to sexualize them at a young age, to prevent them from thinking clearly. Um, I'm trying to teach, a little girl how to like do some math thing like order of operations, and she was worried about her Instagram notification. Now I can, if I'm the boss, which I sometimes am, I can make a kid learn 3 grade levels of math just to check his iPhone. Like I can be like, yeah, you can use your phone if you can solve this math problem, and that's one way to handle it. But that's an issue that our generation didn't really face. And then, man, oh, here's one. So transgenderism is an adult conversation, right? Um, but it's interesting because the adult conversation often revolves around, well, if it's not hurting anyone, like, go ahead and do it, and fine, like, we can even go with that. But I think we can all agree that you shouldn't turn a kid transgender. I mean, we can't agree on that anymore. But for those of us who can, say, oh yeah, obviously, I want you to know that there are toys, right? And you can't. I mean, there are certain things you shouldn't be able to do. Like I shouldn't be able to make a toy about a crack cocaine, like marketing, getting kids addicted to coke, like having a toy that like, oh, you like smoke coke and now you have good ideas or whatever. Like you're not supposed to be able to brainwash children like that, and yet there are these transvestite like products that are marketed for kids. And like one you can look up is called Drag Race, and it's like a drag queen, like it's taking a boy who likes cars and like turning it into a feminine striptease or something. And it's you have babies on YouTube dancing. I mean, I just watched this video, so I'm like overthinking it, but dude, no, stop. Just stop with the madness. Like I there are so many hurdles in the way of me teaching a kid just like what words mean and what numbers mean. Think about that. Um, they're so smart and they're given no opportunity to learn at all. Like I can take a kid and in like 45 minutes teach them 2 years worth of math easily, easily. I mean, give me a break. Um, Order of operations is like a single lesson, right? And like, how long do they make them wait to learn that? I mean, I had like 10 kids in my class today who didn't know the answer. Not one of them knew the answer to 6 plus 3 times 2, right? Because that could be 18 or it could be 12, depending on if you know order of operations. Now, one of them knew the answer, and they're all capable of knowing the answer. They all just have literally gone through life with no one having any faith in them to understand anything. And kids are so much smarter than they get credit for. And our education system is so broken and designed to crush the learning spirit out of them. And I hated school my whole life. I mean, I had it, but not half as bad as they do. I mean, summer school is okay, but Mark Twain has a great quote. I never let my education interfere with my learning, or I never let my schooling interfere with my education. I'm gonna look it up. Anyway, that's a great quote. Whatever he said. The point of that quote is that where you don't learn in school, you get brainwashed in school, and you have to learn on your own. And the truly intelligent people are people who view school as an obstacle. To be honest with you, um, it's scary, man. It's really scary. Um, I mean, I taught them what exponents were and square roots were, and they didn't know any of that. They didn't know, and they can understand all of it. That's what's so scary. It's like their light bulb is on more so than anyone else in the world, okay? Because they haven't been poisoned and brainwashed yet. So like they're our last hope. Like I taught myself math a year ago. I realized I was brainwashed and I learned how to count and I taught myself and now I can teach people. But 2 years ago I was 25 and couldn't let's think of what I couldn't do. I couldn't tell you what 27% of 150 is. Okay, but now I probably could because 27% of 100 is 27. And then there's an extra 50, so I would take 13.5. 27 plus 13 is 40.5. Okay, well, with the 0.5. So these kids are smart enough to understand anything if they're taught correctly, and they're not being taught correctly. And I don't blame the parents because they've been brainwashed. I blame the media and the school system, right? So why? I mean, I've had good teachers, but it was always weird to me growing up that I'd be like, I want to be a teacher, but I wanted to make money too. And I remember always thinking, well, I don't want to be a teacher because they don't make money. And so you have the best and brightest minds doing other things because money is our god now. And that's what's so funny is money's not my god. And I've never been able to, I just can't even, I couldn't do it if I tried. I mean, I just can't, I just walk off the job. I'm just like, see you later. I'd rather be broke. But now it's like, if I'm teaching kids, then I don't walk off the job. And if they stopped paying me, I would just keep doing it until they said, hey, you don't have authority to teach here, but like, I really don't care about money. Like, what are you going to do with your money? Like, what? How much money is it worth to be having a good time? How much money is it worth to teach a kid something that they wouldn't have known otherwise, that then they can like ripple down for countless, like what? Like what do you, I don't understand people's reward systems other than that they've been brainwashed to think that money is the highest good to aim for. Money's awesome, but man, if that's your goal, or if happiness is your goal, um, I could go on and on and on and on. I've been holding so much back. I think I'm gonna post this not under my name and just see if anyone figures out who I am. But we're in big, big trouble. I mean, at the end of the day, I believe that 9/11 was an inside job. Okay, and you can turn off the video now if you're brainwashed, but that's what I believe, and that's why I am the way I am. That's why I look the way I am. That's why I do what I do. Everything is because of that. Because I saw a world under attack with no one else able to see it. And so I thought, well, I guess it's my responsibility to tell people what's going on. And, of course, everyone hated me and nobody believed me. And my parents tried to shove pills down my throat, took me to psychiatrists. Um, and I did go crazy for a while, but in a social anxiety way because of all the things I was dealing with. And who knows what sort of attacks were done on me. But I've made a lot of mistakes straying away from intuitive knowing. And when you smoke marijuana, it it's legal now. It disconnects you from intuition, causing paranoia. So you no longer have that voice in you that says you're chill, dude. That goes away. So now you're like, whoa, who's around that door? Who's listening to me? You don't have intuitive knowing, and this is okay if you want to experiment with different states of mind. But every single day, like no, that's bad for you. Um, it's bad for you. I stopped smoking a couple of weeks ago, and I've gotten 2 promotions since then, just because I felt like it. Because there was not, I basically don't have anything else to. I literally a couple weeks ago, I realized that I had a great job and a great girlfriend and like great parents and a great place and a great opportunity. And I was wasting it because I would wake up and I would smoke weed. I'm a programmer, so I would wake up, smoke weed. That was my excuse. I was like, well, I can just program my way out of anything because I can just stay up all night programming and do whatever I want during the day or whatever. So I would wake up, smoke weed, um, play video games, go get fast food, and like just like like watch pornography, and like everything bad. Or it was weed and tobacco together out of a bong. It's called a mole. And these are all very addictive things. You have weed. Okay, let's throw that out because you're brainwashed. But you have tobacco. Um, I don't really drink, but I haven't drank since this. You have weed and tobacco put together, and I quit them cold turkey at the same exact time that I quit Xbox Live. And I have 1,000 headshots with every sniper in Call of Duty World Modern Warfare 3, which takes like 3 years, and I don't think anyone's ever done it. Um, so I'm insanely addicted to Call of Duty, and I quit it cold turkey with those 2 drugs. I also quit Call of Duty, also quit porn. Okay, and I was able to do all this because I had a girlfriend who supported me and was able to, give me a rush of dopamine anytime I'm or serotonin, whatever, anytime I was would have been in trouble of relapsing. And she actually paid me $10 to buy my bong and broke it for me. Um, since then, I've gotten 2 promotions, and I'm probably going to get a third one. Unless they at some point, maybe there's a glass ceiling, and they'll be like, well, hold on, we don't really want the kids to learn how to think. And about thinking, I discovered this new guy Asha Logos, this YouTube guy, and he made this brilliant point called "Language is the Battlefield." Brilliant video about the word, what words have become, and man, it's scary. If you're smart, like listen to this. Listen to these words, okay? Discrimination, judgmental, prejudice, and I forget the other one, stereotype. Those 4 words. Now, those are probably the 4 most derogatory words of like our day. Like, you don't want to be associated with those things, right? Like, they are immediately when you hear those, you're like, oh my God. Every single one of those words has to do with you using your mind. We live in a world where the basic premise of existence being told to us is do not think, obey. Those are the 2 premises. Do not think, obey. If I had to add more, be okay, do not think, obey, do as thou wilt. There's no such thing as gender. I don't know. I mean, we can debate on that one, with adults, okay? But, or special circumstances, but not like half the population, right? Most people are boys and girls. Man, is it scary? Is it scary how untapped these kids are with their potential? Like how fucking many hoops I have to jump through to teach them a god dang thing. And it's like the parents are probably brainwashed too. And we have to take the parents' money to exist as the educators to survive, to be able to teach their kid. So we have to sell the parent. Now the parent has been sold a belief that education matters in a school, government way, like public school. So public school invented this impossible philosophical thing called Common Core that every single kid is going to struggle with. And then so these kids are getting sent to like programs like me, but then I can't help them because my job is to make the parents happy, right? I mean, I make the kids happy, but or learn. Happiness is not a goal worth pursuing. Okay. So my job is going to be hindered because I'm going to have to convince the parents that their money is being spent well. But in order to do that, you have to convince them that it doesn't matter what grades they get in school. Because in order to actually get them smart, the best strategy to do that, regardless of everything else, is just to throw away Common Core completely and say, that's stupid, and just teach them in a different way. But if you do that, no matter what the kid knows, and I still think that's the best strategy, just for the record, but it'll be tough to tell the parents that. I mean, if you get rid of Common Core and get the kids loving learning and get their IQ up and growth mindset, they will be so smart that they will be able to survive the education system. But there's this short-term period where the parents are going to be like, I want them to be able to pass Common Core curriculum, and I'm going to have to handle that. All right, I think you get it. What else is new? What else is true? What else is new and true? This is a good book. This is a smart man. Where's another good book? This is the good book. Okay, so I can read 2 different things, okay, and think about them. Okay. Oh, hate speech, guys. Like, do you understand? Like, they're trying to conflate violence and words, right? They're trying to say discrimination, the act of thinking, deciding between 2 things, is bad. No. Hostile, hateful, racial discrimination is bad. But you gotta add a lot of context and words there. You can't just... Discrimination is not bad. It's very good. You would die without it. And we are dying without it. we're being taught not to think, right? So Newspeak, 1984, the whole idea is you reduce the language and you reduce the thought, and you control everyone, you control the past, yada yada. I hope someone's there with me. I know you are. I know some are. But we gotta save the children. We gotta speak the truth. We have to not serve happiness, right? But see how much we can accomplish. It's like the Jordan Peterson mindset. He says, pick up as much as you can carry, bro, and carry it. That's life. And that's our duty. And I can teach kids, and they're not letting me do it. I mean, they will. They're promoting me, but boy, do I predict a struggle in terms of actually getting to teach the kids what they need to know. It's just ridiculous that that's the world we live in. I can't even speak because all the words have been hijacked, and none of you know the definitions. Like conspiracy theorist. Dude, no. That term was invented. I don't know this. I did a little research. Like something about the Warren Commission. JFK gets killed, and then they're like, "Yo, let's introduce this term." Like, I love the strategy of the bad guys. They're so like conniving. They're like, "Oh, let's introduce this term, conspiracy theorists," and just like throw that at everyone who ask questions about JFK. Like, JFK was obviously like beloved and killed. Why do you think everyone beloved gets killed? It's because love is fucking powerful. Why do you think Martin Luther King got shot? Because he says, I don't care what race you are. I have a dream that one day we will be judged not by the content of our skin, but the content of our character. Okay? All that shit that they talk about, black this, black that, Native American this, white this, Trump that, like, what? Like, guys, it doesn't matter. Like, let's just not think about that stuff. Like, man, does it boggle the mind. It's like, I went to UC Santa Cruz and I went to a Black Lives Matter protest, and I learned about their history. I had a black roommate. I learned about Black Wall Street, and I was like, I'm sorry, that white people burned down your Wall Street. I wish I could have seen Wall Street down there and wherever. It was awesome. But boy, did you pick the wrong name for that movement, Black Lives Matter. I mean, I get it. I get why it happened. But you're just so dumb. Do you really think Martin Luther King would support Black Lives Matter? It's literally that's why they killed him. Is because, like, if he was alive, he'd be like, you guys are idiots. Like, be a good Christian and stop worrying about the skin color of people. If you know what I mean? Like, I could make a case. If you put me in charge of the media, I could make a case that cops are only killing old ladies. I could make that case. I bet you there's been a couple old ladies that got shot by a cop, and if you gave me enough media control, I could make a pretty convincing argument that cops are ageist and they really don't like old women, and they're beating them up, and they're being really cruel to them. There's a brilliant thought. This is unrelated. I'm done with that cop stuff. There's a brilliant thought this other guy had, Ashlogos, where he said the Slavic people were slaughtered in like Bolshevik. I need to read about it. I don't really know about it, which is weird, but they were slaughtered, and you don't hear about anti-Slavicism, right? But if you did, it would be a very effective political tool, right? Like, I've even thought of it as personal, like anti-Marxism, right? Like you have anti-Semitism. Okay, I have Jewish friends. Like, what? This isn't about them. Um, there's this quote like, in order to find out who's in control of you, figure out who you're not allowed to criticize. Okay, who are you not allowed to criticize? Think about it. Boom. All right. So I, if you like, let's say you call me like a racist now or whatever, pick your poison. I could say, I could say, I was beaten up for no reason when I was 7 years old, and they took me down an alley and they beat me up just because my name is Max. And I could call them Marxist, and it was an act of Marxism, and it sucks, right? And now, so I come out with an opinion you don't like, and now you call me a name, and I can, as my defense mechanism, I can be like, you're a Marxist. Don't say anything bad about me. You're a Marxist, and this enables me to do whatever I want as long as there's a legitimate fear of being called a Marxist. Because if you're like, oh, I don't want to be associated with those guys who beat that 7-year-old up in that alley, it's a tactic. Pro-choice is a tactic. They didn't call it something else. They called it the right thing. And tolerance is beautiful. What a beautiful word. Tolerance. Imagine a perfect game of basketball. Just a perfect game. I don't think there's a lot of tolerance. I mean, that's kind of a bad example, but man, tolerance is not a virtue. That's my point. It's not a virtue. They want you to accept things, and tolerance is a form of acceptance. Intolerance is a form of, it's the last thing they want, even though that's a virtue. Like, do you get it? Like, imagine something bad. Like, you're taught that everything that comes into your thing is good. Like, immigrants are good. Like, things you don't like are good. Like, things that you disagree with are good. Like, no, like, stand up for what you believe. Be intolerant. That is the most righteous thing to do, is say, no, things, I don't like it that way. This is my opinion. I'm going to form a community around this opinion, and we'll see whose community does fucking better. Like, have some balls. Tolerance is not a virtue. I don't like excluding people based on gender or race or hate, like, but tolerance is, it's kind of like if I'm pinching you and you don't like it, well, why don't you just tolerate it? If tolerance is a virtue and I want to pinch your arm, why don't you just tolerate it? Well, it hurts, okay? So you say, stop that. I will not tolerate you pinching me, right? So you've exercised intolerance, which is your virtue because it brings you closer to a peaceful world or peace of mind for you. So they're teaching us to be in pain and do nothing about our pain, and not to think and not to learn, not to grow up and be successful, strong communities with men and women working together, building families that don't need the big government. There's nothing I won't do. Like, I'm very convinced that I'll be assassinated because there's nothing I won't do. And I have the ability. Because once I figured out that, like, you can repair your brain, I was like, oh, guys, watch out. You can grow it, like, by studying, dude. Like, no, like, because there's these experts that teach you not to think, and they're like, oh, like, let me take your money and I'll put it in an account. Like, I'm reading a financial book, and it's like all about like the con that is financial advisors, and you have to get a fiduciary or whatever. I'm still learning, but the basic premise of life is people get into a line of work and then they claim to be experts, and they try to convince everyone else that you can't do their line of work. It took countless hours, and it still does take so long, and you know, that way you pay them for it, and they tell you it looks like wizardry. Like the more wizard like it looks, the more you pay them. I can make you a website in 10 minutes with your name on it and charge you $1,000, you know, like, because you wouldn't know any better. Um, where was I? Oh, money. Oh, they're gonna kill me. Okay, so I'm gonna learn things. Oh, experts. Okay, so doctors, like, take the flu shot or whatever. Like, don't read about like vaccines. Like, I'm not a doctor. I have no opinion on vaccines. But I'll tell you what, it wouldn't take me that long. It wouldn't take me that long to be able to beat them in a medical conversation. It just wouldn't. And I don't care what domain you want me to beat you in to prove to you that 9/11 was an inside job. We are under attack. The children are under attack. Education is under attack. Everything that is good is under attack. God is under attack. I mean, he'll be fine, but like, he's gonna heal everything, I guess. But it's a war, you know, and there's nothing I won't do. And I've never met anyone who can beat me at chess. If you believe 9/11 is not an inside job, um, then and you can beat me in a game of chess and explain to me both how you beat me in the chess game and also like, and let's make it a 7 game series in person so I can see you. Um, First of all, you're not going to win, and second of all, if you have the ability to win, I highly doubt you'll have a strong opinion against me on that. But I'd be interested, like, I want to meet someone who is better at applying their mind to something than I am, because in domains that I've tried, I know the valedictorian in high school would cheat off my tests. Okay, I know this. You can look him up, like Abhishek Jaram. Okay, well, I just gave away. I shouldn't have said that. I was stupid. I gotta edit that out. Anyway, he used to cheat on my tests, and he was like famous for being smart. I just remember him sitting next to me, and he'll say he didn't, and he didn't. He was a friend of mine. But the point is, after the test was over, he'd say, "Max, what'd you get on 37?" And I would explain it to him. Like, I knew I was a level ahead of him, and he knew that, and so did all the valedictorians. You know, um, maybe they beat me because of the growth mindset, right? But I'm just saying, I'm like bragging now, but my point is, I will do whatever you want me to do. I think college is a complete joke. I got my college degree only because I think people are brainwashed and wouldn't listen to me speak, or they would call me uneducated, right? So now I'm educated. So you can't call me uneducated. Like, I've read your books, guys. I've read your books, man. Like, they brainwash people in those schools, man. And I didn't do a damn thing. I just smoked and like passed every class because it's all a freaking joke. The only one doing any work at universities are the computer science students. That's it. Maybe some math. Um, that's it. I'm actually convinced that there's a conspiracy in the colleges where you have the humanities, just their job is to brainwash people, and then the computer science job is to turn people into computers that, you know, run the computer system that continues to brainwash the people. Um, pick up the biggest burden I can carry and lift it. Well, guess what? I'm articulate. I'm young. I'm single. I'm unmarried. I have a job. I know what 401ks are, and fiduciary means. I'm a dangerous, 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 dangerous person, okay, to the establishment. And they're going to kill me at some time. Why? Because nobody great ever didn't get killed. like in history, because they have to kill you. Because if you're popular and people love you, they have to defame you and kill you, or just not talk about you. Out of sight, out of mind. Trust me, I quit cigarettes just by getting it out of my mind, by not looking at things that triggered that. It's really that easy. Like, just literally go for a walk and look at other things that make you think about other things. Like, oh man. They tell you that you need a drug to get off of cigarettes. They tell you you'll die if you stop. Okay, no. And the companies that sell the drug that helps you get off is the same company. Okay? And like, I'm not interested in tricking you. I'm interested in getting you to see the trick. Okay? I could easily trick any of you if I wanted to. What industry do you want me to go into to prove to you that I know what's going on? I could go into financial and be a very rich person. I could go into music and be a famous composer. I could be a professional video game player, or make a contribution to mathematics. I can't do all of them, but whatever you want, I can do, and so can you. So can you. Because the brain is malleable, and they don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know anything at all. They don't want you to think. They want you to chop your balls off. They want you to get rid of your femininity if you're a girl. Am I crazy? No. Life is crazy. Tolerance isn't a virtue, and discrimination isn't a bad thing. Discrimination is what you use to be able to tell a pen from a pencil. If you can't use your judgment, how judgmental of me. How judgmental of me to call this a pen and this a pencil. What right do I have to use my mind to try to make sense of the world? How dare I? Why can't I just be tolerant? If you insist both of these are pencils, or that this is a pencil and this is a pen, why can't I tolerate that? Why can't I show my virtue of tolerance and say, you know what? Although everything in my body tells me you're a fucking idiot, I have been brainwashed and believe that tolerance is a virtue. So I will suppress my belief that you are an idiot, and I will not speak truth about the pen and the pencil. I will just go along to get along. And guys, the funny thing is, no one wants you to call, no real person wants this called a pencil. And no real person wants this called a pen, right? There's only like a couple people or 9 people that are doing that, okay? But what they're doing is they're taking advantage of psychology, and they know about this experiment that you need to look up. I also know everything there is to know about psychology, okay? There's not a lot I know more about that. Okay, there's a line experiment where I think it's called Stanford Binet, but I usually get it wrong. Okay, but there's a line experiment, Kubler-Ross, I just forget. And it's the Dunning-Kruger effect. I think that's it. Okay, so there's line here, line here, line here, line there. And they start at different points and they end at different points, and it's kind of hard to tell which line is the longest because they're not evenly matched, right? And what the experiment is brilliant. It's you have 30 Confederates and 1 or 2 non-Confederates in a classroom. And Confederate means they're in on the experiment. Now, the Confederates all are going to claim that the second longest line in this series of lines, the second longest line is the longest. And this is taking advantage of evolution. This is warfare. Okay, it's war, and I am a warrior, and I'm on your side. Listen to me. Speak. All the 30 people say the second line is the longest line. Now, the two people are you and me, and they're, or not me, you and your friends. And they are sitting in the classroom looking around at every single person insisting or raising their hand that line B is the long one. When your own eyes can see that there's a better answer. But we are herd animals, okay? And we look around, and unless you're someone like me, unless you're the first pick in the draft or the leading scorer of your basketball league, or you play quarterback, or you date the girl who everyone wants to date, unless you're me, which is extremely rare in life, just based on hierarchies, unless you're at the top of the male hierarchy, you're going to go with everyone else because that's what humans are designed to do. You're going to say, I guess I must be wrong. And that's that's not even a bad thing. That's our evolution. It's bad when they're taking advantage of that by giving us Confederates on the news. Everything is fake. So you're basing your perception of reality of everyone's doing this, so I better do this. The social media isn't even real. It's like bots and stuff. Like everything is fake. Your reality is not what you think. Okay, these are concerted efforts to change your mind. And anyway, the experiment found that everybody and their mother goes along with the crowd. And I didn't. I don't. I know that that's one thing I have is the luck of the draw, where because of my life experiences, because I was born into a lucky situation with good genetics and a father who taught me things, and I was like older than the kids around me, and like all these different factors. I had older sisters and older best friends. I had a huge advantage. I was taller, faster, older, smarter, better dressed. Like I had a lot of unfair advantages that other people don't have that give them the confidence to say you're all wrong. The line that's the longest is line number D, not B. You're all wrong. Sanity is not statistical. George Orwell. Sanity is not statistical. And I'm sorry for bragging. That's a flaw of me. Right now, I'm feeling really good about myself because I'm trying to make the world a better place, and I get carried away. I think you're all equally valuable. I'm trying to save your soul. Okay. You don't want to go to God because they don't want you to go to God, so they took control of religion. If I don't want you to drink, oh God, if I don't want you to listen to music, I have to be the distributor of that music. What better way to prevent you from hearing it? I can just not release it. Do you get that concept? Like, if they want you to not connect to God, they have to be the ones who say, well, you got to go through me, or you got to go through Jesus. No, you're Jesus. There is no Jesus that you go through. You are Jesus. Like, you're a human. Jesus was a human. Okay? You just go straight up. You don't need the church. If you want to go gather and talk about your relationship, excellent. Do it at the same time every Sunday. I don't care. But those guys dressed in black, dude, no. Do you think God Almighty cares what color you're wearing? I mean, think about that for a second. Do you really think the Almighty God would have a preference to your garment? Does he want beautiful buildings? I mean, if you would build a beautiful building, fine. But, I mean, there are certain beliefs I've always had as a child, and they're unshakable. And one of them is that no place is holier than any other place. Because just conceptually it made no sense to me. Like, to have like, well, let's all fight over Jerusalem. Like, really, guys? Maybe there's important stuff there, but you can't. If a God created a whole system, every part is equally godlike. Like, that's always just been weird to me, that people fight over a specific point. The news is corrupt. Okay, there's one other thing I want to explain. It's called controlled opposition. So you got Alex Jones, who you probably have already thought of in this video because I've said things that are contrary to popular belief, and so has he. So then we're associated. So you have to think about the strategy of if you want to control the world. First of all, do you want to control the world? Because some people do, right? And they're going to try to do it. And the way to do it, and you have to fight for freedom every generation. Sorry, guys. You don't just get to inherit it. Anyways, so, okay, what they do, the bad guys, they control the opposition to limit the range of the debate. So if I want to have if I want to say, I'm trying to think of a corrupt thing. Let's say I want to take everyone's money, a huge tax, and I'm the king of the world. So I propose a huge tax for 15% additional to what you're already paying. And then there are some excellent people who want to debate me on it. The best strategy for me as king, and this is a rudimentary, awful explanation, but I hope you get the point. Best strategy for me as king is to pay somebody to pretend to debate me, so that the other people who actually want to debate me are like, oh, okay, someone's already doing it. I guess I'll watch Netflix now. I guess I'll do some drugs now. Because I don't want to be like that guy. Look at the guy debating him. He's a moron. And look at the guy on the other side. He's so smart. He's in a tie. He uses big words. Oh, man. It's just so bad. I can't convince people that love me to death. I can't convince my father or my mother or my sister or anybody. Except maybe a handful of friends, most of whom who have already come to their own conclusion. It's extraordinarily hard to take someone and change their mind, open their mind, but that's why I think children are so important, and I'm not trying to infect them with a goddamn thing. I'm sorry, God. I just want to say, I want to teach them how to use numbers and letters to think and to be creative and, like, you know, no, I'm not going to put any of my bias on them. I mean, I'm a little tempted, but I wouldn't want to tell them, like, to read 1984. That might be too, like, believe what I believe. But definitely look at that psychology experiment, right? Like, doesn't everyone deserve to know that works, you know, on people? You just gotta be careful about your mind, man. Like, do you know why they do crossword puzzles according to, like, conspiracy theorists? They get your mind trained to read backwards and up so they can hide messages. And I just wrote a children's book, and I hid messages going in reverse because and it's like I don't want to mind control them, but it's almost like I want to the reason I wrote the story was not to mind control them, but I just wanted to put out a story into the universe that anyone can read, and it's just a fictional tale. My creativity, like, I can die, but the story will live on. It's called Cloudland, and it's about a man who has his princess taken away from him, and he gets a sword, and he goes and he slays the dragon, gets the girl, brings her back. Okay, and it's like, pretty good story, pretty long. I mean, pretty short and sweet, but lengthy enough, and it's more like a poem than anything. And I named the dragons sexism, racism, tolerance, whatever. Like everything they use against you to save the world. Um, and I didn't want to say that out loud because that would be political commentary. So I put all the dragons' names, those things in reverse. And I had someone read it and they didn't even notice. My character's name is Elam Apla, which is alpha male in reverse. And it's just a story about traditional heroes, just a normal story. Normal story. Guy saves girl in a castle, right? But telling a normal story is like a revolutionary act, right? Like I bet you someone could read that story and have a problem with it. Just like, oh, well, what are you saying that the princess couldn't like, or that like she's just a sex object for him to like shut the fuck up, shut up. I'm gonna give you some names: Jordan Peterson, Asha Logos, Jonathan Adam Pants, Jesus Christ, Alan Watts, Friedrich Nietzsche. He understood the danger of leaving God behind and replacing it with Marxism or whatever the fuck, money, you know, like um, the love of money and the hate of money, like, you know, whatever. I don't even care to get into that right now. But this is highly dangerous stuff. I'll never commit suicide. I'll never do a drug again. Um, Maybe I'll slip up with my friends, but I don't want to do a drug that might overdose and kill me, right? So, I mean, I don't even like Coke. Um, I like weed, but I like being sober more. Um, Alcohol, dude, I'm not a drinker, bro. Like, if I die because I drive drunk and, like, that wasn't me, dude. Like, if I ever come out and say something like, oh, I changed my mind, like, that's not, I mean, I can change my mind, but, like, if I do something crazy, like, maybe they cloned me, Like, because you kill Martin Luther King Jr. because you can't have him around. You kill John Lennon, you can't have him around. You can't have these guys around that are anti-war and like knowledgeable and moving with speeches, like and music. You can't have these guys around if you want to control people. So you got to kill them. Okay. But better than killing them would be cloning them. Like if you had the technology, if you're thinking like an evil genius here, wouldn't it be sweet if I could clone you, tell the clone to do slightly similar things but not as effective, and then ultimately betray itself? Now I'll just take you, kill you, and let the clone defame you, and then the clone can die, and you die, and everything with you goes. That's why you got to have personal relationships with people. Also, there are things called shadow bans on Twitter and Facebook, where I can post a status and think that nobody is engaging with me. Like I can think that people are seeing my status, but they disagree with me, so they're not clicking like, and they're not talking to me because I'm a leper who thinks crazy thoughts, right? Well, shadow ban is designed to make people like me feel isolated and turn to drugs or change my opinion or give up. I'm not going to give up. Anyway, shadow bans are what I said. I'm a coder. I made my own version of Facebook. It's really shitty. Um, Maybe I should just tell you who I am and you can go there. Um, and sorry, Abby, about that comment. You're smarter than me. He's like a doctor. He's a good guy. I remember when I was playing like basketball, he would get called in and he would want to play basketball, but his parents would be like, "No, you got to study." And they were good parents, and he was on a fast track to success. And I hope he saves lives. I hope he's a great whatever. But I could beat Abby at being a doctor if I was a doctor. And he knows that. And everyone knows that. But whatever. That's my insanity talking. Like that's my previous self. my diseased previous self talking about how great I am. I'm very sorry. I'm trying to inform you. Okay. What else can I teach you? Sports are rigged. Completely rigged. Don't watch them. I mean, I'm in a fantasy league just because I like the guys in it. I like fantasy too, but only when my life's pathetic. I mean, could your life get any more pathetic than looking at your phone all day and hoping, like once a week, bro, or 3 times a week, you're looking at your phone, hoping that another man can save you. And you're going to Marvel superhero movies, and like, there's always a hero. Like, you're the hero, bro. Turn off the superhero movies. Stop gambling for other men to succeed. Be the success. You can do amazing things. Imagine if fantasy football is awesome, whatever. But like, I love it. But if every second you spent doing fantasy football, you spent trying to cure cancer, guess what, guys? Cancer gone. Cancer gone. Oh, and I have lots of thoughts on cancer, man. That's why you got to look at Jonathan Adam Pants. I wrote an essay in college. It was called. I was in the honors biochemical class or something, bioengineering or whatever. It was like the hardest class I could find for my elective, just to see what they were up to. And they have these ways that you're supposed to do college. Like, you're supposed to cite things in a specific way as if that's like important. Like, no, it's not, guys. It's just not. It's missing the boat is what it is. Okay? But anyway, so I just wrote an essay and I didn't cite shit the way that they wanted me to. Like, I'll give you a link of like what I'm talking about, but I'm not gonna like format it. Like, what? Like, who cares? Okay. So anyway, I wrote this like crazy essay, and it was about the cure for cancer, based on what Jonathan Adam Pants has to say about how cancer, the atom is conscious, and a cancerous cell is a cancerous consciousness. And a cancerous consciousness is, if you think about what cancer does, it grows too big for its own good. It doesn't realize that it's part of your body, and it only takes care of itself, and it converts other cells to only take care of itself until it becomes a tumor, right? It's very interesting how it does this consciously, because you have to see yourself as I to function. I have to say, I am Max, and move my hand, right? But then there's other consciousness in me that I am a human, and that's why I'm talking to you, right? I'm a white blood cell who's been activated, baby. I was dormant, and now I'm not. And I studied the sickness, and I know how to kill it, and I'm coming for all of it, okay? I'm a cell. You're a cell. We're cells of God. And if you don't like that, too bad, okay? But think about it on the inside is what I meant to say. On the inside, if the atom is the individual, but think of it as the atom, but think of it as consciousness, because consciousness does not emerge. There's no proof of consciousness emerging in multicellular organisms. There's no proof of this. There's no moment where the light goes on. Okay, the light is always on. The light is always on. So the atom is conscious. The atom says, I, the atom. But then it also looks around and says, it uses some of its consciousness to say, we, the molecule or whatever. And then the molecules, they know how to move themselves, but they also recognize, hey, it's like us, the tissue. And then the tissues are like, hey, I'm the tissue, but I'm also part of this organ, right? And the organ is like, I, the organ, but it's comprised of a bunch of tissues that are convinced they're individuals, which are comprised of atoms which are convinced. So you are convinced you're an individual. And the moment that you stop the part of your brain that is devoted to the species, you become cancerous. Do you understand that? So if you don't treat others how you want to be treated, i.e., do what Jesus would do, you are cancer in the flesh, bro. No different than that stupid cell that won't recognize that it is part of a loving system. the cell that's afraid, the cell that gets hit by sunlight and says, why are you guys letting this happen to me? And then he fucking freaks out, and everyone freaks out. And then you lose the connection to the whole. You say, how could my system let me out in the sun this long? That's what cancer is. It's blaming other people. It's taking from other people. It's protecting yourself. It's immortality. If you want to be immortal, yeah, you can ask yourself a 1 fucking second question. Are you cancerous consciousness or are you Christ consciousness? Is the answer to this question. Do you want to live forever? If the answer is yes, you're cancer. If the answer is no, you're not. It's that simple, because you have to die. Your cells have to die. For me to live, my cell has to voluntarily die. He has to say, it's time to go. For the system to work and teach his baby cells or whatever. I don't know how that works, but that's how we work. But you gotta go. You gotta go. And if you want to stick around, you're cancer. You really, really are. If you're looking for ways to upload your consciousness into some shit, you are cancer. You just are. Because there's nothing wrong with dying. There's nothing wrong with passing on your genes to the best of your ability, finding the best mate you can, providing for them, giving them the best life they can, and turning out the light. I mean, that's life. And that's, if your cells don't do that, you have cancer, okay? Because your cells need to go through a life cycle and die. And if they refuse, if they get hit by sun and they decide to become more powerful than they should be, and they take energy from other people, and they save money or, whatever, that was a bad example, save money, but you get me. You love money. Okay, let me get technical. It becomes an oncogene, and cancer wants to live forever, and so it kills the body. That's what's so ironic, right? So the cancer cells, they grow and they grow and they grow the tumor, the tumor, right? And now it's scaling up. And instead of like the other healthy way, it's like getting bigger and bigger in like the wrong direction. I don't know how to explain that. But the tumor, oh, so it gets as big as it fucking can, right? Like you've seen cats with like just tumors that are like bigger than them, it's insane. But that's like the fucking, all of its consciousness being hijacked by this other consciousness, and it's the cancer consciousness saying, take whatever you can. And it takes, and it gets bigger and bigger, and it's like, see, we're getting bigger, let's keep taking. And then eventually there's nothing to take from. And you fucking die. Like the whole body dies. So like, you're killing God every single time you say a mean word to another person. You're giving God cancer. Okay? And if you don't want to think about God, you're giving whatever you are one scale up, like tissues to molecules, you're giving that cancer. And that's what people don't get. That's why people say mean things to each other. That's why people say, I hate you. That's why people say, you make me sick. Instead of, I love you, brother. Thank you very much. And, I think people are good. I think people hold the doors open for people and stuff, but like, some of this had to be said. I'm interested. I'm going to post it under my name because people already hate me. I'm just interested. I don't want to get fired right now. Isn't that an interesting world where I could get fired when, like, all I want to do is what's best for them? Oh, so here's what else worries me. If they're going to kill me, right? And I'm around kids, like let's say they don't for a while. Let's say I'm a successful businessman with teaching or something. I like I was in a classroom today with children, and it's like, what if, like a gunman came in? It wouldn't be like a real gunman. It would be like a CIA gunman to like pretend that he's a real gunman, like a lone gunman, like JFK was killed by a lone gunman, and then they would like kill me, and like I don't want the kids to get hurt. And so it's almost like I want a gun on me, right? But they would never give me a gun because, and I wouldn't give me a gun either because, I mean, I would, but it's dangerous to have the kids, like to me and the gun and the kids is dangerous enough, right? Or the kid gets the gun from me and, whatever. But I need something. I need like a button I can press where Navy SEALs come down because I, I want to be able to protect them without carrying a firearm or carry a firearm. Um, you know, and just fuck the motherfucker up, dude. You can't beat me in a gunfight. That's all I did my whole life. Just think about gunfights. That's all I've done. I mean, I was indoctrinated by video games, and I just have blown so many things up you can't imagine. And my tactical ability in warfare is fucking insane. That's why I never lose a game of chess. That's why I got 2 promotions in 2 weeks. That's why I figured out how to date exactly who I wanted to date, um, etc. That's how I've never really worked a day in my life. And I have this computer and everything. Um, but I'm bragging again. I'm off topic. Is there anything else, any other value I have for you? Read books. Turn off the TV. It puts you in a different brain state. That's not good for you. A little more suggestible. And you know what's fucked up? Even on YouTube or like anything these days, like there's hypnosis in the background. It's like CNN, like really, guys. Like I remember it was like the first logo ever to like do that, and it was like, oh cool, they made the logo move. But like, really, do you need it? Do you need it to do like a 1080 and change colors in like 20 times in 5 seconds for me to like know that you hired a software engineer at your company? Like, just say CNN, dude. Like, I don't even watch CNN, but TV is insane. The stuff swirling in the background on NFL Network or wherever. Watch out, man. And porn, just cut it all out. Cut out all the madness and see how you feel. Try it out. Try no anything new. Just assume for the sake of argument that people are getting less and less happy and that these things that we're adding to our lives are not making us happy. And just go back to basics. Okay? Especially if you're miserable. If you're miserable, okay, what time is it? What time are you watching this? If it's the middle of the day, hit pause, walk outside, and walk around and use your mind. And don't do anything in particular. Don't have a goal. Just walk the fuck around until you think of one. That's your goal, not anyone else's. Quiet your mind. Just be outside, read a book, write a book, do anything, write someone a letter, do anything unorthodox, anything that isn't technology, because you'll still have plenty of technology. I don't pay my phone bill, okay? Apple made this phone, and they came out this weird deal that was like no money down. So like I gave them like tax, I gave them like $50, and they gave me this, and they said, "Well, add it to your phone bill." So I just stopped paying my phone bill, and now I have like a computer for $50, and I just use a different phone. And yeah, I owe them money, but like that was a risk they were willing to take. You know what I mean? I don't know what that has to do with anything. Oh, my point is, it doesn't work. So I paid for the flip phone on the go. So my phone bill is like $1 a month. And if I need to use a phone, I have a phone. If Google needs to call me for a software interview, I can take it. That's what I got it for. But generally speaking, you don't need a fucking phone. Just email someone or like when you're at home. Like, And you don't need the fucking weather while you're walking around. Look at the sky. You don't need to know what time it is. You can ask someone. Like, everyone is a walking computer already. Like, if you take your computer and you don't use it when you walk around, man, you won't even notice. Like, people aren't looking around at each other. Like, my favorite, okay, Sad Guru, that's another name. My favorite quote by him is, he's like, this is the iPhone, and he's like, this is the eye. Okay. He goes, this is the technology. This is the magic. Go look at this. Go say hi to a stranger. Say hi, how are you doing? I did that, and now I have a girlfriend. Literally a stranger. I helped her with her groceries. She was my neighbor. And then later I was walking, and she came up to me and said, here's my number. And then I took her out, and now we're dating. And it was literally just because I was walking outside without cell service, and I saw something. I saw somebody that I could help, and I did it. I saw somebody that I liked that I could help. That's called real life. I am a white blood cell. I have been dormant most of my life, but I am activated, and I am well aware of the current diseases in this world, and I have killed them in small scales. Okay? I want to activate other white blood cells out there. I want you to let me know if you're a white blood cell who senses that the body of government, the body of God, the body of the people, the body of earth, this whole body, whatever this is that we're a part of, is sick. Little boys dressing up as girls is sick. Look, I have a sister and a mom who love me, and they dressed me up as a cheerleader for Halloween one night of the year, and they said I looked good, and I don't think that's unhealthy. You know, I had fun playing with my sister's makeup, like whatever. But I was old enough to know that I was messing around. Don't do that to your 4-year-old. Don't give him hormone blockers before his balls drop. You think he's a little feminine? Yeah, it's because he doesn't have testicles yet. Like, what? Please wait till after puberty to talk to your child about gender dysphoria. Should I really have to say that? Women are masculine, men are feminine. Okay, sperm counts are down. The best movie out right now is Captain Marvel, which is about a girl who punches guys. Um, that's fine, but it's just interesting to me that I had to write a story. I felt compelled to write a story about a man who saves a princess from a dragon because I don't see that anywhere. And guess what, guys? That's the oldest fucking story in the book. That's what we want. It's more interesting than whatever the fuck they're selling you. What, a girl going around beating up people with superpowers for no reason? I mean, I haven't seen it. I'm sure they tricked you into thinking it's good. Like, guys, like, evil comes in the name of good. And I'm quoting someone else, but you think it's stupid? You think Satan's stupid? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he never existed. And do you honestly think that evil comes in the name of love? No. Does the rapist come in the name of rape? Or hi, how are you? Before he, puts chloroform over your mouth or whatever that drug's called. You know, It's easier if you feign goodness, and if you plagiarize God, it's easier to get people to like you. And there's classical conditioning, and again, this is psychology that I guess people don't know, but you can ring a bell and give someone money, and then they'll like that bell. That's what classical conditioning is. You stimulus, reward, you attach things, you can control behavior. So I could fuck with your mind so easily. So easily. I forget the point of that. Oh, Satanism, Cage the Elephant, look at their videos. They're an excellent band that I predict has penned in their contract in blood, you must do satanic music videos that indoctrinate the masses into Satanism as a one world government religion, blah, blah, blah. Because that is beautiful music with satanic music videos. And what they're doing is people on YouTube who want to, let's say you're just an 8-year-old boy who heard the single greatest song ever, which is Ready to Go by, the greatest song you've heard so far, because you haven't heard Mozart. And you think it's the best song ever. And so you Google it and you look at the YouTube video, and it's pictures of people drenched in blood making out. Now, making out is a symbol of love and God and everything good, right? A boy and a girl making out. But if it's drenched in blood, now that's perversion. That's, woe to them that call sweet, sour, sour, sweet, or bitter, sweet. Like, call up, down. Call this, that. That's what we live in. We live in an upside down world. 117 is my lucky number, so I'm gonna leave it there. Peace out, guys. Love everybody.